Welcome to Sports Connection. I'm Darrin Joins, Williamson County Schools Athletic Director. I'm here with Mr. Tate Mathews. Tate, it took us a little longer than we thought, but state championship #1 is in the books. Page Soccer, Coach Clapp, congratulations. Back-to-back state championships, and it's 3 in a row for that soccer program when you include the boys.
3 in a row when you count the boys, 2 in a row for the Lady Patriots. Repeat back-to-back over a familiar foe. Boy, if you're Murfreesboro Central Magnet, you really are tired of seeing the Page Lady Patriots.
And wish them well moving up next year.
Have fun.
I'm assuming Central Magnet's still going to be too.
Yes, I would think so. They're glad to see him gone without him. But really, if they can get over the hump, kind of be hollow, right? It's kind of like when, I don't know, it's kind of like back when UT and Georgia were no good in football, and there were a lot of people that got a lot of wins, and I don't know, kind of hollow. I don't know. Congratulations to Page. Coach Clapp.
Are you giving me a dig on Kentucky football? Is that like
No, I mean, maybe. I mean,
Well, I want to acknowledge what's going on.
I could have very well been talking about Vanderbilt too.
Yeah.
But again, we've talked about it. No reason to go in depth on it again. But this is cool for a lot of reasons. But Coach Clapp built these programs up from ground level, and now they're the best at what they do. It's really cool, man. Really neat. Congratulations.
Football playoffs coming up this week, and then cross-country state championship, where we're going to get one, maybe 2 team titles.
That's right. And we're going to have some great individual performances. You love cross-country, but you love the state cross-country championship meet. Did I say that right?
But out in Hendersonville.
That's right. Old stomping grounds.
Saunders.
Saunders, don't call me Sanders. Ferry.
Hey, let's talk. Let's talk a little Page Soccer. Let's give them their proper notice here. First round ended up being their toughest matchup. 1-0 over Livingston Academy. Semifinals rolled, and the folks at Greenville, they've been a powerhouse for a while. They didn't like it. They did not like it. 4-1, and I'm telling you, it was total domination. It wasn't as close as the score.
A little bit of chaos in the stands, too, a little bit.
A little chaos in the stands.
I thought I read that on Twitter.
I think I may have just texted you that.
You did, but then I think Pulliam was tweeting.
Oh, about the stands.
Pulliam was tweeting about some dad losing his mind or something.
Well, there were lots of people losing their mind.
The coach went after Coach Clapp or something.
And I would say this. I thought it was interesting. Coach Clapp made the comment with Murfreesboro Central that, it's civil and we get along. Well, Coach, that's easy to say when you're 11-3-1 over Murfreesboro Central. Greenville, I'm telling you, could sense it, that they were better at one time than Page. Then it felt kind of equal, and I'm telling you, it was obvious. Page was superior, and they didn't like it.
Yeah, no, that's a big win anywhere, but in the semifinals of the state tournament,
2 years in a row.
That's teetering on the edge of maybe quite possibly boat race city. 6-1 definitely would have been, but that's a thumping. And then what'd you say about the record?
So, and then it's the gym this week. Murfreesboro Central Magnet, Page. They played 15 times in 5 years, 8 in the past 2. That total record, 11-3-1 for Page over and that's a really good team.
Really good team.
11-3-1, including that 3-0 win in the final. Think about that dominant 1-0, 4-1, 3-0. So in the state tournament, that's 8-1.
Yeah, that's
they rolled.
That's unquestioned who the best team in the state was. And I think if you go back to that 8-0, I mean the 8 games in the past 2 seasons against Central Magnet, I'm pretty sure it's 8-0, isn't it?
I think they had one last year.
So 7 it's at best.
There was a
7
split.
I
think it was split in the regular season. I think is what it was.
Got it. Wow.
Yes,
that's a heck of a run.
It's pretty special. And I'm going to say this: you talk about Page, 23-0-2. You know how it is in soccer. It takes 3 or 4 years to win 23 matches.
Dang right.
They do that in 1 year, a first in the school's history to be unbeaten. People forget they opened the season with a 5-3 win over Nolensville. I don't think you can argue Page is one of the best 3 or 4 teams in the state, regardless of class.
No doubt about it. And I'm like you alluded to, I'm happy. I'm excited to see them go up and start playing with those other ones because I think they'll be just fine.
Kate Nelson in that championship match, 2 assists, goals by Reagan Vaughn in the 14th minute. Margaret Brizica scored in the 69th, and then, of course, they had to end it with
Gracie, I left my wallet in El Segundo. It just wouldn't be right if she didn't get a goal.
That's true. We wouldn't be able to say it. Hey, and how about what Gabby Rainey did as goalkeeper?
Yep.
They give up 10 goals for the season. That's 25 matches, and obviously they may have subbed a little bit for her, but for the most part, that's her. 3 goals against Nolensville in match 1, and the rest of the season, which is 24 more matches, they gave up 7 goals. How are you supposed to beat someone you can't score against?
You don't. That's why they're 23-2. And Coach Clapp would tell you that's a lot of clean sheets.
A lot of clean sheets.
A lot of clean sheets in there under the column of Gabby. That's really strong, man. Really strong. Should have known Livingston Academy was a little bit better than I gave them credit for last week.
I think you just like digging on
I do.
Livingston.
I do.
Guy.
Hog guy. But they are a soccer school. That's kind of the soccer program up there. They take it serious, but I can admit when I'm wrong. They obviously were much better than I thought. 1-0 against Page, and like you said, that was the closest game they had all tournament.
They along let's go ahead and knock on Livingston a little more. Them with another school that we won't name. Are you the Dodgers? Are you know what I mean? They use that L.A. Dodgers.
Yeah, they steal a bunch of stuff.
I mean, which, that happens, but
How about a little originality?
I shouldn't be able to go into lids and sort of buy your hat.
Well, and Hog Guy is really confusing to a lot of people if you're up there. So, they got the train whistle and, anyways. Pretty lake, though.
Well, they got a state quarterfinal finish,
Yeah,
which is great.
good.
Thank you. Hey, but again, Page High School starts at the top. Dr. Hill does a great job there, and it works its way down. Coach Clapp, certainly big time for him. I know he wanted that state title, now 3 in a row. Looking for 4 in boys, and they'll have a shot.
No doubt about it. That'd be, boy, and then you start thinking ahead to the Wilcos. I know it's a girls-only award, for girls or then boys, but, man, that's hard not to. I would think when Coach Clapp, who will obviously be up for Coaches of the Year, that's hard for that to not to creep into the voters' minds, right? Human, because there's a human element to it. So
There's a human element.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little cross country.
I'm ready.
So we had our region meets last week. No surprise here, but I thought this was pretty interesting. So you take a look in AAA, 6 AAA, and here's how they do it. 3 teams qualify, then it's like the top 5 runners that don't make it
Kinda
from
like
those
golf.
teams. That's right.
Yeah.
Brentwood first, boys and girls. Second on the girls' side, Nolensville. Third, Independence, who ran without Janie Halterman, by the way. Still finished third. She will be able to run in the state meet as their team finishes. On the boys' side, it's Brentwood, Independence, so they make it in both. Ravenwood finishes third on the boys' side. So great showing, and Ravenwood was running that meet without Raymer.
Yeah.
So that
which
makes a difference.
that'll help them. But here's the thing that jumps out. Cross country, kind of like golf, the lower the score, the better. Correct?
Yes.
You notice anything about those? I know you do.
It's unbelievable. Brentwood girls, 29 points. So they get a 2, a 4, a 5, a 8, and a 10. Look at that boys' side. Brentwood finishes first, second, third, fourth. Asher Oates of Independence fifth. And then 6 is Brentwood. 16 points. So the lowest you can get is 15.
16 points.
15's like a bowling a 300 and
300. That's right. Perfect.
they were one off of a perfect meet. And we've been talking about the girls. Look out now with the boys.
Oh, no doubt about it. Yeah. And so on the boys' side, 16. Second place was 59. That's a heck of a score. But that's how big the gap is.
For second.
And then you go to the girls, right? And you go to the girls, Brentwood with 29 total points. Nolensville was second with 65, and they had the fastest time. Nolensville had the fastest time.
Unbelievable.
So I would think that the Brentwood Bruins and Lady Bruins have a good chance to
I think they've got a
maybe
shot.
come home with some hardware.
Claire Stegall, girls' side, wins it. Brody Chapman, boys' side. And how about Rob, don't call me head coach, Patinas. I'm a runner,
Yes.
finishing second. Yeah. That's nice finish. Cal Fielder, who we know is great, finishes third. Keller Vaughn, the freshman, finishes fourth. And then Connor Vanderkook, that name sounds familiar.
Oh, they just keep churning them out.
Finishing
And they're all
sixth.
runners. It's unbelievable.
And how about that girls' top five, Tate?
Well, you got Claire Stegall. I'm going to go out on a limb here.
Wait, write this down.
Write it down. She is going to, and I understand the gravity of what I'm about to say, so you don't have to ask that. She is going to leave Nolensville the most decorated runner in Williamson County history.
That's Miss Koger's going, okay. I think you're right.
This young lady is different.
And did you notice, too, that she was, I think with the dust out there, because it hadn't rained in forever, she was having some issues with that, as were some other runners. So it was like, at the end, she was struggling. 14 seconds. Way to struggle, Claire.
Yeah.
We were out there for game day, and she was running. And she came running through, like, where we were setting up. I'm like, God.
Well, I mean, we talked about it on the show. In the 3,200 at the state track meet, I'm serious. I thought it was a rib, candid camera. What's that show, Ashton Kutcher, Punked? I thought that somebody had pulled up a thing and tripped the entire rest of the field. But in all seriousness, Claire Stegall with first place. Rachel Hawes of Brentwood comes in second at 19 minutes. Larkin Johnson Centennial at 19:05. Lydia Cromwell and Lauren Banavac of Brentwood come in fourth and fifth. So Brentwood with three of the top five, and then Nolensville obviously with the winner in Centennial. So Brentwood overall, but the number one runner goes to the Lady Knights.
Not to add insult to injury, but if you took Brentwood's bottom runner up through, it takes what? 5 scores. So if you go their last place runner up through to make 5 total scores, they might still win. They'd be close.
Yeah. They'd be in the state track meet. What if they ran two? Yeah, it doesn't matter. Points been made.
They're really good. And we're really good in this. I mean, it's not like this is a joke region.
No. But I love it, especially on the girls' side. When you start looking at it, you see Banavac twice, Halterman, obviously Janie, had she run, would be there. Stegall, the Moonies. There's just so many of them. It's really neat.
It seems to be a family thing. Even Charles Pulliam, his wife's got him out there running.
I know. His dogs were dressed up for Halloween, man.
I mean,
that's a big
what you
weekend
do.
for them.
I do want to mention, because some of these schools are just right outside the top 3. We had Ravenwood on the girls' side, finished 4th, Centennial 5th, then Summit, Franklin, Overton. On the boys' side, 4th was Franklin, then Centennial, Nolensville, Overton, Summit, Hillsborough, Columbia Central. So congratulations to those teams. Congratulations to Fairview, the Fairview girls with another region championship. And like Brentwood, 4 runners in the top 5. Alyssa Andrea finishes second. Alyssa Andrea. She finishes second, then it's second, third, second, third, fourth, fifth. On the boys' side, they finish third. They qualify. Aiden Ellis finishes fourth. Page, both are region runner-up in advance of the state meet. Aiden Hock finishes fourth for the boys. And then, no surprise, they kept it in the family. Sophia Boutros first, Gabby Boutros second. They'll have a chance to win the state title as individuals for sure.
Very cool. Maybe they can get a 1-2 finish.
It's in play.
Yeah.
It's in play.
That'd be the first time, wouldn't it? That'd be a heck of a gym.
It'd be a great gym. Have to do a little research on that one. Tate, let's talk football. We've got a lot of football to talk this week. Not only the results, but we got to talk a little playoff football as well. So let's start off, final week of the season. We're going to start off with our WCTV game of the week. Ravenwood, I think we thought Ravenwood would win. I don't think we thought it would be in such dominant fashion. 38-14 over Independence. They earned the number 1 seed in the playoffs. Independence gets the 3 seed after the Centennial loss, which we'll talk about in a minute. Independence jumps out 7-0 early. Brooks Sapone to Luke McNeely. But after that, Ravenwood goes 38 unanswered points. Coach Stidham, the announcer at Independence, everybody is sick of the name Pace. Carter with 4 touchdowns. Colton with the touchdown too. In fact, let's take a look at our WCTV Play of the Week.
Nolensville and in other region action looking to go undefeated tonight, taking on Franklin County.
So like we said in the pregame, score watching, Twitter watching, end of first between Centennial Brentwood. Centennial up 3-0 over Brentwood.
This is going to be a touchdown Ravenwood Raptors. Justin, I'm speechless here. I don't even know what to say.
I don't know what happened.
I know what happened. I can't say it. They went with motion. They send number 7 underneath in what looked like kind of like jet motion. They just toss it to him, and he had a wide open field to run to. Justin, I think I could have ran that in for a touchdown, although I probably would have ran out of breath and fell down at the 10-yard line. He had all the room in the world to run. Well-designed play. Everybody keyed on Chapman, and number 7, Colton Pace, took it to the big house.
Well, Coach, it was 14-7 at the time. They'd been running that toss sweep to the boundary over and over again. Coach Hester gets in the shotgun, dials up 5 counter tray. Kind of it's a counter tray, right? Like wing T principles. He went back to his roots when he first started the coaching. This is kind of a gem under Jimmy Maynard at Upperman, and he was coaching with Mark Pemberton. But anyways, wing T principles, they just did it out of the shotgun and had a little shovel pass off of it. But as you can see on the play, the cornerback and the safety get sucked in because of what they had set him up for. That was a play that was set up. Shovel pass it to Colton. He gets outside. The guys had lost their assignment and got sucked in. It was wide open. He took it to the house. That made it 21-7. Coach Hester will tell you he thinks that's really what broke it open.
How about the job that the young puppy did? I mean, I know they didn't throw any touchdown passes, but
Doesn't matter. He didn't mess it up either.
our man Maverick, I don't know if you knew this, because Coach Hester told me this last week, because I told him that's a great name. We do it with Top Gun.
What about Maverick? Don't call me Goose.
No, I've got a better one for you. So Coach Hester says on the freshman team, the other QB,
No way.
Goose.
That's.
I mean,
There needs to be a special. made on
starting
that.
next year, those two have to be in the lineup together so we can have 3 years of that, if nothing else.
No doubt about it.
Forget how they play, Coach. Get them in there.
That's right. I mean, this is a story. Yeah, man, goes with the freshman. Had all the confidence in the world in him. They'd been getting him ready for this, but I don't care, man. This is a game. One, it's a 6A, Region 7 6A football game. Two, it's for the region championship in part. You have to win it. And against a good team like Independence. Go out there. No, he did. He passed for 300 yards and 4 touchdowns? No. But he did what he was asked of him, and he managed the game well. Didn't throw, to my knowledge, he didn't throw any interceptions. I was talking to Coach Hester about it on the radio. I said, Coach, he doesn't even have a driver's license. And he said, I don't even think he's got a driver's permit. So think about that.
And what makes it even sweeter is he wears number 85.
It's really hard to believe. You know what that means? It means they had no intention of him playing quarterback this year.
I mean, the guy played in some freshman games, right?
Right.
Or JV or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, you're right, for him not to goof it up, which he didn't.
Yeah.
What about those stats for Carter Pace? I mean, I know he's got 25 rushing touchdowns this season. We talk about Samson Johnson, who's obviously Mr. Touchdown in 5A and really for WCS because he's got that title. But how about the junior Carter Pace?
Well, think about this. You've got two state championship. You got 2 gold balls in the trophy case over off Wilson Pike. You got 3 silver, right? You've got a guy who's playing in the NFL right now that played on those gold balls and one of those silver teams. And Carter Pace just broke the single season rushing touchdown record and the single season rushing record at Ravenwood High School. That's pretty tall company right there. And the season's not over, but 26 carries, 252 yards, 4 touchdowns. And you got to remember, Coach Stidham and his staff, they know what they're doing on most of those plays. They knew who the ball, maybe not where the ball was going, they knew who the ball was going to. 252 yards on 26 carries. That's big, man. Big.
I want to shout out to Sapone on that last touchdown to steal Katina. That was the final margin. Again, 38-14. The Ravenwood defense forces 3 turnovers.
Yeah.
They're rolling in the right direction. Now, we'll talk about this in a minute. They're playing at home, which is great, but maybe they're playing number 4, who's really number 1.
That region's so messed up. But
It's
yeah,
messed up.
I mean, they're
For a lot of different reasons.
for a lot of different reasons. But they're probably the most talented. They're big, they're strong. So, and we got to go back. None of the, you got a freshman quarterback who I think passed the ball. He passed it single-digit times. And you got a running back goes 26 for 252 yards. What does that mean? That means that Raptor offensive line won that game.
Playing well. To me, I'm always impressed, especially when you're talking about running the ball as opposed to throwing it. When you can run it almost every time and they know it and you still do it effectively, that always impresses me more than
No doubt
anything in
about it.
football. If you're throwing, it's different to me, just the way, the nature of you're in space a little bit.
Right.
But I'm going to hand the ball off. Now, I know I may hand it off a little differently, but you know I'm doing that and you still can't stop it.
Speaking of, this is a Wilco show. But there's a lot of Wilco fans. Did you watch the Titans game?
No. But same
I've
situation.
never seen anything like that in a pro game.
Derrick Henry. I did notice a kid was dressed up as King Henry last night. Doing a little trick or treat in 22, and had like the cape and the crown. I was like, that's a great
Great
King
costume.
Henry.
Yeah.
Great costume.
Yeah, if you were doubting whether he was still the king after Sunday, there's no question. It was a dominating performance, but a dominating performance for the Raptor offensive line.
Our next game that had huge playoff implications, it was also in 6A, Brentwood Centennial. You got to be smarting a little bit right now if you're Centennial, because late in that game, at least late in the third quarter, they're leading the game. In fact, they had a chance to score within the last 2 minutes to take the lead, and they go from possibly being 1, and they end up 4. Brentwood with the 15-9 win. And, here's the thing, too, and I got to give you a shout-out. You said Brentwood 2. They finished 2. Ravenwood finishes first, which I think we all thought. But it's interesting to me, you've got all these scenarios, and when the dust clears, it's Ravenwood and it's Brentwood, like it's been so many times in Class 6A. It just was a little bit different how they got to it this year. Brentwood 2, Centennial 4.
Yeah, and let's think about it. It's kind of funny, too. The Battle of the Wood, however you want to pronounce it, obviously bitter rivals, but they both needed each other, right? I mean, last thing we want to do is get on a bus and go to Memphis. Ravenwood had to win to get that first place, but they had to have Brentwood beat Centennial, right? But if Brentwood beats Centennial and Ravenwood gets beat by Indy, Brentwood would have been 1, right?
Yeah, and Ravenwood.
Yeah. So Ravenwood really needed Brentwood more than Brentwood needed Ravenwood, but to keep from going on the bus. So you're right. It's kind of funny how the more things change, the more things stay the same. But what we talked about all year, I think this was pretty cool, man. And what a great job Coach Finch did this year, keeping the team together. Tough. They all play a tough non-district schedule or non-region, but they played as tough as anybody. But we talked about it all year long. How does Brentwood win? They got to play great defense. They hold that explosive Centennial offense to 3 field goals. Think about that. In 4 quarters, they hold the Centennial offense to 3 field goals. They had 2 turnover on downs in the red zone, all right, and running the ball. Well, Hamzi Nazar comes up with a 65-yard touchdown. He had 89 tough, so in the rest of his carries, only 24 yards, right? Running the ball, good defense. That's how we win. That's exactly what they did.
Centennial, again, congratulations, making the playoffs. I called that early.
No doubt you did from the beginning.
And often. And it's
Never wavered.
It seems easy now, but I'm telling you, a lot of people didn't think that.
Correct.
They go out and have a chance to win it. They have 382 yards of offense versus 219 for Brentwood. So I know that's frustrating. What I don't want to see happen and I don't think it will, but Centennial was right there with a chance to win it. If you don't watch, that could have a little carryover in the playoffs, the disappointment of almost being first and hosting. But I think they'll get it back together, and they'll show up very strong in the playoffs. Again, 15-9 the final. Sam Cochran had 3 field goals. He kicks one to put them up 9-7 midway through the third. And like we talked about, another red zone stop for Brentwood. With 2 minutes left, they have the ball inside the 10. They don't score. And people forget this too. 3rd and 6 with 30 seconds left, Brentwood runs the ball.
Who did it?
Trey Doris. Trey Doris, 10-yard
Former
gain.
WNSL
Oh, no.
city champion, member of the Mavericks. He was a running back, could fly back then, can fly now.
More Top Gun.
He was part of the. He's a WNSL champ, flag football champ.
Obviously, you helped get him to that level, and we appreciate that.
Good kid.
Brendan Jones, how about the game he had? 24 for 35, 257. 2 different receivers with 100 yards. Kanai Johnson, 103. Tanner Lee, 102. Brentwood said, throw the ball.
Throw the ball.
And they did a good job of it. They just couldn't score.
That's right.
Not touchdowns.
Throw the ball when it gets tight down here, bend but don't break, right? And that's what's crazy about football, man. If you just read what your notes about Centennial, you go, oh, well, Centennial obviously won, you know? But got to get it in the end zone, man, red zone. So crazy game.
Congratulations to Nolensville, region champion. They're undefeated. They had a tough matchup, and we knew it would be.
Yep.
21-7 at Franklin County. They're down 7-6 in the fourth quarter. But what happens? Samson Johnson with the TD, Zion Tomaska, and I'll tell you, Franklin County said we're going to stop Walton if we can. He was only 7 of 25. That's an off game for him, but you got to give Franklin County credit. But what happens? Samson Johnson, over 100 yards rushing in a big game. He's only had 100 yards in a handful of games.
Yep.
But come playoff time, I think you're going to see a few.
That's what I think. Well, one, we've got some really good wide receivers, and we got a really good quarterback, really good passing game. So why not use those two? I think you're right. With the emergence of Zion in the running game, you know, why burn Samson out? You know, when you know you got a good chance to make a good playoff run. I'm with you. I think you're getting ready to see more and more of him the next few weeks. But Franklin County's a really talented team. You know, you got to like this. They had to come from behind to win the Page game. It was different, but they had to come from behind, win the Page game, come from behind in the fourth quarter to win the Franklin County game. So I think they're tough. You know, I think this is one of the tougher Nolensville teams that they had. And Taylor Wine played like a beast all night long. He blocked a punt, and then he all game he was around the ball, but he blocked a punt, and he also had a strip sack that caused a fumble that was recovered for the Knights to seal the win. So, yeah, 7 for 20. Here's what I think Coach Derrick and Coach Curran, the offensive coordinator, think. 7 for 25, 39 passing yards, Kobe Walton. We still get the win. That's not happening again.
Nolensville had the 1 seed, though, wrapped up.
Yes.
Because they would have been 9-1.
Right.
But they wanted to really win it.
Yeah,
Of
course.
And go undefeated?
Undefeated in the region.
Big time. And undefeated for the season. So I'm just curious what you think here. If you've got a team that you think can be as effective running and passing, kind of like Nolensville, to me, I'm still going to make them pass it, especially as it gets colder.
No doubt.
Going to stack it up a little bit. I guess you got to leave Fitzgerald out there, which is dangerous, but more can go wrong throwing it.
Right. Well,
You would agree with that, right?
Of course. Coach Crabtree, I know he told you about Jerry Pearson, right?
He's told me a lot about Jerry Pearson.
Okay. Coach Pearson always said, boy, there's 3 things that can happen when you pass the ball, and 2 of them are bad.
Coach Crabtree obviously listened.
Oh, my gosh. I think you brainwashed him.
He obviously listened.
But yeah, you have to. You know, and the bad is when you make them pass and it goes bad,
it's real bad.
It's obvious to everybody.
Right.
But yeah, you got to take away the run. Come playoff time. And Franklin County's got some athletes that they can put on the outside on them. And, you know, Franklin County's a good football team. So that's a good win. And Coach Coach Cunningham, the coach down there, he played with at Austin P with Coach Derrick. So there was a lot of reasons why Coach Derrick was happy to get that win.
Page breaks a 2-game losing streak with a 38-3 win over Lincoln County, just what the doctor ordered.
Yep.
They secure second place in the region. Colin Hurd, 6 for 6, 192. It's a pretty good night.
Pretty efficient.
Throwing the ball, 2 touchdowns. Ethan Listman, Boy Smith. Hopefully, somewhere in the playoffs, we're going to see the return of Max Collins. If so, look out.
Look out.
And I'm telling you, if Max gets back, no offense to our Nolensville friends, I think it makes Page the team to beat.
A little foreshadowing.
If Max gets back, I do. Just because I think he makes that big a difference.
Oh, well, went to overtime the first time without him, so would make sense.
And I also said I wasn't picking against Page again.
That's right. Man of your word.
Yeah, like one of us.
I mean,
I've gone back on mine a few times.
what's it called? The circumstances.
Well, because you also had the Brentwood. I know. I'm still talking about that Brentwood Franklin thing.
That was tough. Page is firing. Page feels good going into the playoffs. That's a nice win. Obviously, this isn't Louis Thompson's, early 90s Lincoln County.
Or any Lincoln County team that was good.
But still, man, 38-3. And that was, you said it at the beginning, just what the doctor ordered. Page is ready.
Fairview was playing for the region championship. They lose at Waverly 33-22. Fairview finishes second in the regular season. They led early, 7-6 on a Crawford Claxton 18-yard touchdown run. They did cut the lead down 14-12. Actually, they led 14-12, but they didn't score again. So they go up 14-12. Let me backtrack. They go up 14-12 on a Kendon Curtis touchdown. They didn't score again until it was 33-14. So you have a 21-0 run by Waverly. And I think we knew it would be a tough matchup, but I really thought Fairview would get it done.
Yeah.
But Waverly's a good team.
Waverly's a good team. But they're not a team that Fairview can't beat. They didn't beat them the other night. But, they were up 14-12. Waverly's a good team. And here's the thing, man. I can't remember his name. That he's come in there, won that state championship at Whitwell. He's coming to Waverly. The thing about him is his teams are tough and physical, so you're not going to go in there and push them around. So I know Fairview wanted to win that game and wanted to win the region, but they lost to a really good team. And something tells me they're probably going to see him again.
Layden Grant, 1,000 yards rushing on the year after that game, so congratulations to him.
10 games.
Yeah,
what does that mean?
He's
over 100 yards a game.
That's right.
Pretty strong.
And he's been pretty consistent. He hadn't had like 300-yard games or high twos. It's been pretty consistent.
Yep.
I don't know the number, but he's had 100 yards more than he hasn't.
That's a great accomplishment.
Summit, 34-21 win over Franklin. And I love this about football. Even when you're not a playoff team, you can still end it on a high and with a win to end the season.
Yes.
Summit ends with a win. They obviously dominated Shelbyville last week, 34-21 over Franklin. Franklin jumped out to a 7-0 lead on a Brewer Wilson to Cooper Brown touchdown. Dominic Hollis ties the game up at 7-all with a 3-yard rushing touchdown. They never trailed again. They get up 33-14 before a final Franklin touchdown. Your heart goes out to Coach Melton and those kids at Franklin. They were a better team this year.
No doubt.
But they end up 0-10. But I'll say this about it. When you look a couple years down the road and they're winning, nobody's going to feel sorry for them.
No.
So before you feel too bad about Franklin, understand, I know Coach didn't like to say this, when you're a 6A team and you've got 11 seniors, you're not going to win.
It's hard to compete.
You're not going to win.
They better be 11 two-way starters.
And I'm going to tell you, those seniors did a great job for him. Their best players are sophomores.
Yeah. Yeah, and well, all you got to do is, off the record, talk to the coaches that they're playing, and they'll tell you, golly, man, this is a good football team. They're scary, I don't know why they couldn't, some of those games, get over the hump. But you're right. They're building the right way. They never quit on Coach Melton and his staff, and they'll continue to get better. So, and we got to say it, too, in the Summit win, Austin Harvey golly, he went off. Really the last 2 weeks, but he went off Friday night, and
What a great young man he is, too. I don't know
he
if you've met
is.
Austin. He's neat.
Yeah, he is.
He really
Coach
is.
Coleman and his offensive staff, they know how to run the quarterback, man. I mean, he was well over 100 yards, and so he's got a very bright career in front of him. He's a little bit different than the last quarterback, but obviously we're going to see a lot of big time production out of him. So you're right. You're a coach, and you know. Summit, is that the record they won at the end of the year? No, but they ended in a high note. They've got a lot of enthusiasm heading into the weight room and then into spring practice. So Summit's on its way back up. Franklin, watch out in the next 2 years.
Again, and I'm sure no one did because the last 2 years they were running people. Nobody felt sorry for Summit.
No.
And they don't want anybody feeling sorry for them because, again, in a couple of years it'll be back to the way it was.
Right.
Just the way it is, right? Especially when you're a public school coach. I mean, when you don't have an opportunity to go out and try to get people, you're probably going to have some up and downs. You're probably going to.
Well, I was going to say that about Franklin. That's the way it used to be, right? Like you built your program up, and you might take a little dip, and then you develop these young guys, and then you have 2-3 years, boom. You know, we're playing for region championships, we're winning region championships. Then we take a little dip and we come back. But with the transfer portal making its way to high school football, that's changed a little bit.
So, one thing that you said about other coaches being aware of Franklin, Bobby, the General Luna, he used to say, and I like this, that if you've got a good program, even when you're bad, you're good. In other words, you got to play to beat them.
Yes.
And I think hats off to Coach Melton. They're not happy with 0 wins, but they'll be working, and they're going to win some games.
And I'm sure our most loyal fan, Captain Camp Counselor up at Gallatin, I'm sure he's appreciating the Gallatin Coach Luna reference.
Hey, let's talk about this briefly. Pick'ems.
Okay, how brief?
Well, as brief as I could make it. So
Okay.
last week let me tell you, I was like, come on, Fairview. I had Fairview over Waverly. I thought, yes, I've got you there. Brentwood Centennial, if that one goes the other way. But we can't talk about almost. This is not horseshoes or hand grenades. This is pick'ems. Dr. Qualls, something we've grown to count on.
Goodness.
He goes 3-3. 53,
Is he even picking anymore?
53 wins. We could let a computer pick it. So he has 53 wins. The fans and I both went 4-2. We're tied at 55. Tate, give you credit in the regular season. With the regular season finished, you go 5-1, 59-11. So I'm 4 back with the fans, 4 back. Dr. Qualls 6 back going to the playoffs. We haven't given up yet, but you're in charge. You kind of remind me of UNLV when they won the national title, and the next year they're rolling into the Final Four, but here comes little old Duke.
I know.
And they beat them. So that's what I'm banking on.
Well, and what happened to that UNLV team? They got cocky, didn't they? Overconfident.
Are you feeling
No,
overconfident?
can't let that happen.
Okay.
I remember the story.
Okay. So that being so, we're going to look at the bracket. So
Okay.
Let's look at the bracket first. I'm going
Okay.
to let you do a lot of this since you are a football expert based on our picks. But we've got a bracket. We've got 3A, 5A, and 6A since that's our people. Fairview, number 2 seed, they're 7-3, playing number 3 Maplewood, who's 3-7. But as you look at that bracket, that 3A bracket, who are some teams that stand out to you, not only in Fairview's portion of the bracket, but in the bracket in general?
Well, obviously, if you go up on that east side, right, there's a team called Alcoa.
Right.
So should we just go ahead and put
Yes, in the state championship.
them in the state championship game? Okay, here's who I like down here. Giles County. We got a dose of them with Nolensville and Page. Page really kind of got after him. Nolensville had to play 4 quarters to get that win.
And I give Giles credit for playing both of them.
Oh, yeah. Well, he really doesn't have much of a choice. He has a hard time getting the non-regions. But yes, of course. Them, you need to look for them. Smith County, who 9-1, they won the region championship last week against a really good East Nashville team. So you need to watch out for Smith County. They're going to win the Sycamore game rather easily. And then you need to look at East Nashville. They beat Independence. Father Ryan, really good football team. Then when you head west, do we call Waverly West?
Sure.
Okay, Waverly, you got to look for them. And then, I don't know, man. I don't think any of those Memphis teams really have anything to do with anything. Covington, maybe. But I think Giles, Smith County, Fairview, East Nashville, Waverly, that's going to be one of those teams going to be over here getting the pleasure of playing Alcoa.
Yeah, but if you make it to that,
Who cares, man? I mean,
Whatever.
let's go. Let the chips fall where they may.
get there. So Alcoa, we agree, and I agree with you. Obviously, they're the class of 3A right now. I
take
think,
that back. I'm sorry. Giles is in the East. Giles isn't making it.
Well, they're going to play Alcoa.
They're going to get beat in the semis by Alcoa.
And then you're looking at Smith and or Fairview
Smith, Fairview, East,
Nashville.
and Waverly.
to make the run there. It's a little bit more of a toss up there. On the top part of the bracket, it's Alcoa, it's Giles County. They play in the semis. Alcoa will be too much. I will say this about Alcoa. I do think, and you've seen it with Maryville a little bit too, as the years go by, they're going to come back to the pack a little bit.
I think so, and it's nothing against Coach Hunt. He's a heck of a coach, man. But there's only one George Quarles. I mean, come on.
Right.
I don't know who the next guy at Alabama is, but he's not going to do what this guy's done.
And everybody's trying to get him to retire.
Yes.
All right, let's look at 5A.
Okay?
Nolensville Page, I think we agree. We've got a real shot here on the bottom part of the bracket. What are you looking at there on the top part, Tate?
Well, hey, Powell's the defending state champion, and all they did was go 8-2, and everybody's written them off. They got a really good quarterback that we saw firsthand, Jordan Potts. Now, McNamara was on that field, but you know it wasn't like. I mean, that was a heck of a quarterback.
They had a dude too.
They got a dude. It was a dude going against a dude. So, you know, I'm not ready to write them off. And then, of course, everybody's talking about Knoxville West. I do think that is a two-horse race on that side. I don't think they hit each other. They do not. So we're going to say Knox West and Powell in the semis up top.
And I agree with you, and I'm saying Knoxville West makes it to the final. You?
Are we picking that right now, or do we get a week?
It's just a practice pick 'em.
Practice pick. No, I'm going with Powell. I know Matt Lowe, the coach there. I think he's got something for Knoxville West. Plus, he's got Jordan Potts.
And they've done it.
And they've done it. They did it, and they won it by the hair on their chinny chin chin.
The bottom of the bracket,
A little bit tougher.
to me, it's a little more wide open. When you take a look at Mount Juliet as a number 1 seed, and if you look where Page is at as number 2, that's a couple of tough games to get this thing started. I'll say this, Page gets through to a matchup with Nolensville. They'll be big-time tested.
Well, what would you call this? Quadrant?
Quadrant.
That's the toughest
It's
quadrant.
tough.
And it might be the toughest quadrant in all 6 classes.
It's really, in terms of anybody could potentially win at least a game.
I mean, let's think about this. Let's say Page wins, okay? Let's say Page gets there. Page will have to beat Green Hill, they're not bad.
No.
Then they're going to have to beat Mount Juliet. Then we're going to assume that's Nolensville. They're going to have to beat Nolensville. And then you're probably going to have to beat Mumford or Springfield. Man, that's a tough 4 games.
You don't think Henry's?
I think they can, but, you know, they beat Springfield earlier in the year. I don't know. No, I don't think Henry makes it. You do. But I know why you do.
Why do I think that?
'Cause that's the Crabtree influence over you. It's okay. It makes a lot of sense.
And how do they play? What do we say has to be done?
Run the football.
Come
And they got a
on.
good quarterback, Ryan Damron. Yeah, okay. I'm going.
I think Henry's in the semis.
Okay. I'm going.
And maybe just because they always are. Or it seems to be.
I'm going Munford.
And you're sticking probably with Nolo, I got a feeling.
They haven't failed me yet. Plus, you're going Page.
I'm going to go with, now again, we can adjust each week. This This is kind of big picture.
Yes.
Pick'ems. This isn't individual.
Well, and there's
pick'ems.
something that could happen,
Here's what I'd say. Even though Page, their routes a little, and Nolensville's not a gimme. I mean, you could play worse teams than Wilson Central in the first round.
Heck yeah.
I mean, you really could.
Well, and we assume Franklin County is going to come out and see Nolensville, but they got White County, Malachi Dowell.
Pretty good player.
Well, heck, they were talking about him breaking Jalen Hurd's single season record, which you saw that up close and personal. I don't care who they're playing. They can be playing the county dump, the Mount Juliet. It don't matter. That's unbelievable. So, yeah, that's a tough. There's a lot of tough football.
Here's what I would say, and I really think this is true in the playoffs. It seems to me the tougher your matchups are as you go, if you survive them, the better off you are for it.
Right. As long as you don't get
Dinged up.
Right.
But you know what I've seen, at least I feel this. If you go back and look at guys getting hurt, a lot of times they get hurt against people that can't play. It's almost like you're not dialed in. You're a little looser than maybe you should be in a bad way.
I think there's
And
something
maybe
to
that's
that.
totally made up on my part.
No, I think there's something to that.
But you look at Collins when he went down in a blowout.
Yep.
And it happens both ways, right? Especially if you've got a big physical team that can hurt you. But
Right.
I do think that happens some.
So you got West Page.
Yes.
Who you got against Alcoa?
Powell. Or excuse me. No. Well, you're talking about 3A.
Yeah, I don't think we said that.
Giles.
No, Giles is up there. I misspoke. Giles is going to see Alcoa in the semis. Who you got coming out of the West?
Wait a second. Let me get my bracket here. Let me get my bracket. Hold on, Mr. Producer. I know we're going off script here a little bit.
I'm sorry.
On the top there, so we've got Giles Alcoa. Giles on the top.
Yeah, they're on the top
Giles Alcoa
in the semis.
in the semis.
Yeah, okay. Who's winning that?
Alcoa.
So who you got in the other one?
On the other side,
Yeah.
that's kind of a yet to be determined.
Oh, okay.
If I were going to
TBD?
If I were going to guess right now, because I hate to sell out Fairview, I'm going to say Smith County.
I like it.
They're pretty good.
They are, man. Hey, guy, Matt Dyer. All right, I'm going east.
But we're not selling out Fairview yet.
No, well, Fairview's going to win the first round.
Yeah, and we're depending on what I need to do in round 2, I'm able to pick. I'm able to pick anything. All right, let's go to 6A. Let's go to 6A. Obviously, we got several teams in this. Now, here's what's interesting, and I want you to go through this a little bit, focused on our teams. I really feel like, and you tell me if I'm wrong, and what I've looked at, and we talked about this a little bit before. So the Memphis side all goes 8-2. It's messed up.
Crazy.
I personally think their best 2 teams are the 3rd and 4th seeds.
I do too.
So that's bad for us if you think that our 2 are our best 2.
Well, it could be. Yeah, right. Well,
Or it could be better. You're rolling the dice and get them all out there.
That's right. Hey, our best 2 are better than any of your 4. So bring your best 2 over here,
And you think that's true?
and then maybe we can get 3 and 4. I think so. Yeah, but you know how it is over there, man. That's that. You know, I'll tell you this for people that are around our age. If you're a Ravenwood fan, this isn't the Germantown that you remember.
Right, a little different. Hey, look, as you look at this bracket, and we always say this each year, and it's why, for me, and I know it's good for us because our 4 deserve to make it, this having a 1-9 Shelbyville in the playoffs, taking on 9-1 Oakland, I guarantee you Shelbyville doesn't want to play that game.
No,
They shouldn't be in the playoffs.
No, but
I don't know what we do, but I mean, come on.
That's because of the amount, the number of teams in 6A, and they got the, they want to have the exact. I know. It's bad. There's another one in there that's.
I'm sure if we look, there's some more 1-9s. There's definitely some 2-8s.
Well, yeah, no, you got Cookville in there at 3-7, and they're playing the blazing fast. They're going to get beat by 50 probably.
And then that'll be over the next week.
They got Oakland again. No, they got Coffee Stewarts. Okay, let's start up top. Farragut, the Admirals. Who did they give their only?
You kind of like you're a Farragut homer.
Well, you know,
I mean,
yeah.
for obvious reasons.
Yeah. Who'd they give their only loss of the season to? The Beach Buccaneers.
Oh, that's
Week
right.
one.
That's right. Early on. That's correct. I forgot about that.
And I'm pretty sure we're going to talk about them. We think they're really good. I think Farragut up top. Maryville, even though they're 7-3, I know they lost to Cleveland.
You think Farragut over Maryville?
I don't know yet. I'm saying that's one that you got to think. And I'm telling you, man, everybody's talking Oakland, and they should. I think this Blackman team is going to make some noise in the playoffs. They got a lot of weapons.
I'm going to go Maryville, Oakland on the top half.
Okay.
And then, I'm going against what I just said. Even though they've come back to the pack, I think it might be Maryville.
Really?
Yeah. To me, Maryville and Oakland, they're not what they've been. They're both still
No,
really good.
Right.
They're both still really good.
If someone down here is going to win it, they better do it this year. I mean, let me rephrase it. This is the best chance they've had.
You said it right.
Yeah, they've had.
You said it right. So when you look at that bottom half, obviously Beach stands out. Beach beats one of our best two teams, Brentwood, pretty handily 2 weeks ago. I know Brentwood have been going through some stuff, but still, you got to give them credit and the style of play. So I think when you look at that part of the bracket, I'm not saying it's a gimme for them, but Beach is in the semis.
Beach is in the semis, but let me tell you something. They got a heck of a fight in the quarterfinals with Eddie Woods and the Cane Ridge Ravens.
Beach will win.
Yes, but they got to fight.
I'll say this, and look, I know they don't lose to those teams typically. When they faced up, they faced up with Hillsborough a few years ago when Hillsborough was dominant, and I think Hillsborough had beaten them during the season. Again, I think it's style of play and time of year. I think Beach comes through there. And then they join 5A next year, which I know they're happy with. So I'm going Beach at the top.
And Centennial going to 5A.
It's 5A's getting fun.
I hope
it's already fun, but it's really getting fun.
It's going to get real fun. I'm assuming they're probably going to see each other. I hate that because I think one of those two could make it to the 5A state championship next year. All right, so who you got? You got Beach versus Ravenwood in the semis.
I don't know. We hadn't talked about that bottom.
Okay.
So Ravenwood, Germantown. So you're saying it works out well. Our two advance. I think it's going to be tough, but I'm obviously going to pick one of our teams to make it. I think it comes down to Ravenwood, Brentwood again.
In the quarters.
Yep, and I think Ravenwood wins.
Okay.
So yes, I think it's Ravenwood, Brentwood.
Who you got then?
I'll have to see how it's going then. I don't want to totally commit to that yet. I do think Beach is going to be hard to beat. I really do. If you made me pick right now, I'd say it's Beach, Maryville in the final. But we're not really, we're sort of picking now, but what do you think? I know this is great TV right now.
I think, okay, you ready?
As we look at our
You ready?
brackets, yes.
You ready? Maryville, Blackman
Oh my gosh.
in the,
That would be,
in the semis.
that'd be bad for a lot of reasons, but
Maryville, Blackman in the semis. Beach, Ravenwood in the semis. Maryville beats Blackman. Ravenwood, you heard it here first, with the freshman quarterback beats Maryville. I'll save the state champion for. I got to see how Maverick is doing in the playoffs.
wow. Going all the way to the,
I like it.
but you got Maryville beating Blackman on that top.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so we agree on that. So we both talked about how Maryville's back to the
Stinks,
pack
and
and
they're
they're
probably going to
fine.
win this thing.
well, when you look at their team, I mean they're notorious for when it matters.
Yeah.
They've
All right,
been there.
Let's not do
They've been
this.
there.
Let's not do this. We're not going to pick them. Do we go 4-0, 3-1, 2-2? What do we do?
In terms of the games,
Yep.
well, we're getting ready to make our picks for the week.
Oh, yeah, let's go. All right.
So let's see what we do. So I've got to strategically place when these picks are made. I'm going to make you go first.
Okay.
Fairview, Maplewood.
Snappy's Pizza is rocking Fairview.
I think Maplewood plays them closer than you think. But, I mean, Mapleswood's wins are bad.
Be prepared to see a boat captain.
Republic,
next week.
which
Jackson
I thought that was a bank, not a school. Jackson County and Stratford. So, but, you know, I was talking to Coach Hughes. Of course, you know, every coach is always scared.
Oh, man, they're scary.
But you're, you know, they are scary because you know if they got it together, it could be tough and they present them some problems. But I agree, Fairview.
Boat race.
Nolensville, Wilson Central. I'll pick that one first. I think it's a good matchup. I think Nolensville wins double digits, but I think it's close for a while.
Nolensville, 10-0, 11-0.
Your pick.
Page.
Green Hill.
Page. I think this would have been a heck of a game last year. It was, wasn't it? Didn't they play?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because the Green Hill people acted crazy.
They did. Not
Not all of them, but some of them.
Not the same Green Hill team, and you lost last year. You're losing again this year.
My pick, Ravenwood, Germantown, Ravenwood.
Ravenwood.
Your pick.
But a tough fought game. Maybe a field goal. Tough.
You think home matters.
Yes.
If they had to play that game on the road, you wouldn't be as confident.
That's a long ride, man.
Yeah. And they're probably not riding, well, they would be. They're riding a similar way as us, but it's a long ride. Brentwood, Collierville. Who you got?
I'm first?
Yeah.
Brentwood.
Agreed, Brentwood. Independence, Houston. Now, I hate to do it, but I'm trying to catch up, so I apologize. I hope I'm wrong. Dash to Sports, because I know he's watching. And see, he let us know.
What did he say?
He let us
Ye of
know.
little faith.
And then we both picked the game correct, so sorry. I hope I'm wrong about this. I think they've got a shot, but I'm going to pick Houston to get Indy.
I agree.
Oh, you do? See, if you'd have picked first, I might have.
You want to
No,
change?
that's not fair. It's not the game.
I hate it, but I think that's probably the worst matchup.
Centennial Bartlett, your pick.
Again, I hope I'm wrong. I think going on the road matters. I'm going with Bartlett. I hope I'm wrong.
Cougars.
I hope you're right.
I know they've got some things they're dealing with this week. So I either cut this thing to 3 or it's a laugher. You've upped it to 5. We both hope that I cut it to 3, but you'll be okay with laughing.
No. We're going to laugh anyways. I hope you cut it to 3. I hate doing it. I hope I'm wrong.
It's going to be fun. Hey, how about winter sports getting started?
Whew, can you hear that basketball? And can you hear that wrestling mat? Can you smell that wrestling mat?
I don't really want to smell it. Listen, I love wrestling, but the worst smelling place in the whole school is wherever they've been.
I'm talking about
I don't know why that is. Oh, you talking about the clean?
I'm talking about the back cleaner.
I'm talking about just the smell. I mean, football's a close second, but I'm going wrestling's 1 because usually that's a confined. It's like practicing football indoors.
Yeah, and they're kind of like old linemen. They kind of take
pride
pride in being stinky.
Well,
you know?
I'm glad they do because they've accomplished it.
They've accomplished. They accomplished their goal.
Hey, and in
shoot for
wrestling
the
this
stars, and you might. What do you always say?
Fall to the clouds?
Yeah, there you go.
Well, and I'll tell you this now, with wrestling coming up, obviously I hadn't really looked too deep into it. I'll obviously be picking Fairview to do well because they will.
Yes, Coach Derek can't wait for your prediction.
But I'm telling you, I think Summit, we get to that duels and the traditional championship, they're right there.
They're there, man.
It's coming. It is. I don't know if it's this year, but they're there.
They've been knocking on the door.
They're there. They really are. And Page in their classification.
Yeah.
They got a shot too there with Fairview. Tate, always good to be with you. For those viewers out there, appreciate you sticking with us. And
Hey, real quick.
sorry you had to watch us look through the brackets. But
Dave
that's what
Costello, Gene Costello's dad, bumped into him at the Good Cup. Big fan of the Wilcos, big fan of the Sports Connection. Got to make sure I give him my man, Mr. Costello, a shout out.
Yeah, we appreciate him. Daughter Jean,
She was a stud.
recognized there at the Wilco Awards. Great athlete. Did a great job for Franklin while she was there. So we certainly appreciate Mr. Costello watching each week. We gotta up our viewership.
Amen.
It may go down this week as we're fumbling through our brackets. But that's what makes it authentic. This is an authentic
It's the real deal.
show.
Real life stuff.
It's sort of scripted here, but still.
That was real life stuff. And hopefully the Pick'ems race is closer after next week.
Coach Hester requested that his mother be
Mimi.
putting her in like via satellite for the picks.
Nothing would make me happier.
Well, I mean, I bet she'd pick better than Dr. Qualls.
I bet she wouldn't have picked the second 6A game the way we did.
Correct. Correct. Tate, thanks for being here. Can't wait to talk about it more next week.
Get to a playoff game.
Thank you for joining us for Sports Connection. We'll see you next time.